Now, to start off, let's start with the case study questions. The first one being, why have the negotiations so far failed to result in an agreement? Okay, now, there are several factors for the negotiation between Nora and Sakari have failed to come to an agreement. One of the main factors that contributed to this failure is the cultural differences between them. They both lack in understanding of each other's cultural norms. Another key factor that prevented Nora and Sakari to successfully form a contract between them is their differences in what they are willing to compromise on. Okay, now here are the key factors that the difference is based upon. So I'll show you the next slide. Here's the table that shows the entire rundown of the differences between Nora and Sakari's disagreement, which is from the equity ownership, technology transfer, royalty payment, expert salaries and perks, and the arbitration. Let's start off with the first factor, the first being equity ownership. When Nora proposed a split in the joint venture company of 30% for Sakari and 70% for Nora, in which case Sakari proposed a 51% for Nora and 49% for Sakari. Now, due to the inability to compromise on their position in the negotiation, they couldn't have an agreement on it. Second would be the technology transfer. Here, Nora suggested that the basic structure of the switch be created at the JV company so as to get the foundation of the switching innovation. Then again, Sakari proposed to provide the JV company with the basic structure of the digital switch, whereby the JV company would assemble the switching exchange at the JV plant, hence install the exchanges in a assigned area distinguished by the TMB. The next slide. Okay, now the third one would be royalty payment. Now, Nora proposed that a payment of 2% of the net sales would be given to Sakari, and while Sakari proposed a royalty payment of 5% of the JV gross sales to be given. Now, they also had a disagreement on the monetary function of this thing. Now, talking about the monetary factor of here, the next one also involves money, which is about the expert salaries and perks that would be given. In this case, there was a huge difference in the salaries and perks from the JV company and what Nora was willing to provide based on what Sakari expected from them. Now, Sakari expected the currency to be US, so she had a higher value, not realizing the currency differences, and while Nora used a ringgit standard of the pricing. Okay, now the last one is the arbitration. Now, where both Nora and Sakari were in disagreement over the location of the dispute resolution. Now, Nora wanted it to be in KL, Malaysia, while Sakari insisted on doing it in Helsinki, Finland. Now, likewise, the lack of understanding and the lack of preparation on the differences due to the national culture being another factor why the negotiation fell through. The next question is 1B. Is the formation of the joint venture between Nora and Sakari the best option for both companies to achieve their respective objectives? Now, first start this, let's just say, I'll explain what it is. Nora was the leading supplier of telecommunication equipment in Malaysia, while Sakari, a Finnish conglomerate, was a leading manufacturer of cellular phone sets and a niche player in the global switching market. Now, I can say, from this point, Sakari was one of Europe's leading telecoms companies. It would be an invaluable opportunity for Nora to learn from the experience in Finland and emulate its success for Malaysia. Now, Sakari has experience in the export market, and they have modular open standard technology that would benefit Nora from its Finnish counterparts as another major advantage. On the other hand, Sakari would also benefit from the contract between Nora and Sakari for the JV company, as the venture would prove to pave way for Sakari to acquire knowledge and gain access to the Southeast Asian market. The main objective of Sakari is to gain knowledge and access to South Asian telecom products market if the contract is successful. Okay, now let's just go to the point is, while Sakari was a fairly small player in the fixed network, these networks were easily adaptable and were able to cater for large exchange for rural needs in urban areas as well as small ones. Obviously, Sakari's smaller size was an additional strength relative to those of other MNCs, as Sakari was prepared to carry out personalized goods according to Nora's requirement and specification. As large telecom companies are less likely to offer custom-made products, who usually just offer standard products that sometimes fail to meet what the customers want. It's kind of more reasonable to work with Sakari as they're already involved in the negotiation rather than looking for someone new, because it will mostly cause Nora to spend more money and more time and eventually they may fall out on the requirement for the contract they had for TMB. Now that we go here, we can say that Nora could bring in its long-term working relationship with Japanese partners into the JV. Sakari would also benefit by entering a JV with a company as large as Nora and can thus enhance its marketing capabilities and strengthen its position in the market. Now, what I'm trying to say is that, moreover, in Malaysia and Thailand, the fixed network project was entering a contract level. So, for Sakari, it's imperative that Sakari develop its presence in this area to capture the share of the fixed net market. Like, it is with collaborating with Nora, it has the opportunity to enter the markets in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. Thus, overall, what I'm trying to say is, yes, entering into this JV would result in a lot of benefits both parties if they could come to a compromise.
About question 2a, what can be done from Nora perspective? Nora can have two choices to do. One is terminating the negotiation with Sakari, and another is renegotiate the negotiations with Sakari. For the choice of A, terminating the negotiations, if Nora decides to not reconciling with Sakari, then they should explore the new opportunity because the time is running out when they have to fulfill the switching contract, for which they definitely need to enter into a JV with another company which can provide switching technology. Besides that, since Nora had a long-term working relationship with Japanese partner, JV with Fujitsu can be considered as a good idea. Nora can also approach companies which fail in getting the switching exchange contract by TMB despite having access to the necessary technology, like Samsung, Siemens, and Lucent. When entering into a JV with Lucent could be a smoother process in terms of negotiation, as Nora China seems comfortable in negotiation with the US counterpart. And then for the choice D, which is choice B, another choice which is renegotiate the negotiation with Sakari. Since Nora and Sakari both are exceptionally effective in their separate field of business, Nora is one of the main providers of the media transmissions, and Sakari can increase a great deal from Nora quality and information about the way of life and markets. And Sakari is fruitful special showcase player for provide computerized switch technology. So they both have their own quality and point of interest over each of another. So they both can compliance can take in and increase a great deal with with one another. Consequently, we would like to think about if both the company should settle on further renegotiate the negotiations. Then there are some things they have to think about. For example, the ownership. The first key issue that should be restructured is about equity ownership and power control. In our opinions, Nora should possess greater portion of JV equity, like 60% for Nora and 40% for Sakari, for two reasons. One is JV will operate in Malaysia, which is the main field for Nora, and not Finland as the main field for Sakari, which Nora have the better culture knowledge than the Sakari. And the second reason is that Nora has a competitive and suitable managerial force to manage JV. So it would be better if Nora hold larger percentage of share. In technology way, the key area is technology transfer. It would be better if Nora accept the Sakari proposal. So every company wants to control technology transfer in their highest degree. For the royalty should be compromised as Nora, because the financial stimulation prepared by Nora manager indicated that Nora return on investment would be less than the desired 10%. if royalty rate exceeded 3% of net sales. And then is the arbitrations. For the arbitration, a neutral location other than KL and Helsinki should be chosen so that none of the company feel like the other party is gaining an advantage over themselves in terms of possible futures dispute. For example, the Singapore International Arbitration Center. And then, last but not least, the salary and perks should be given as per the condition in Helsinki because both the company and their JV need expertise of the Finnish experts who are working for Sakari. Therefore, salary and perks should be given as per the rule and rate in Helsinki. It would be better if Nora agreed with Sakari regarding the salary and perks. So next is the question 2b. What are the main pressure Nora has to cope with? Nora has to cope with the weight of satisfying the agreement made sure by TMB would be a wellspring of significance, wellspring of stress for Nora. Besides that, Nora also ought to comprehend the Finns and their way of life. And then Nora should put forth all attempts in their exchange procedure that Sakari administration trusts Nora to convey. In the event that understanding is truly that what Nora needs at that point, Nora ought to persuade the Sakari, the executive, as to entering a JV would demonstrate increasingly useful when contrasted with entering the EU advertised. Nora ought to choose the area of discretion with Sakari as this was one of the key issues. And then the other problem is Nora will have to having constraint assets and then shifting through the value issue in which there is a major distinction of the case being up to 19 patients. Next, I'm going to pass to my teammates for other questions. Thank you.
I am Devenesh here. Let's go on to question number 3. If the parties decide to renegotiate, how should the terms of the deal be restructured? What would your recommendation to Nora in solving the negotiation deadlock? Justify your answer. The first factor is technology. The main concern of Sakari is that exchange of their technology. Since Nora is having the experience, Sakari is afraid that Nora will take over the technology and become a competitor for them. Nora can follow the Sakari way, where Nora will learn about the technical aspects in assembling and installing the exchanges. Moreover, in my opinion, I believe the Sakari can exchange the previous technologies with Nora, since exchanging their new current technology is impossible. The next factor is arbitration. Both parties disagreed on the location of the dispute resolution. It can be done in a country between Finland and Malaysia. I have made research that, for example, Turkey and India are example of strategic place to conduct the meeting between both of the countries. So the third factor is salaries and perks. The salary which Sakari has demanded is enormously way too high for living costs in Malaysia, since living costs in Malaysia is low compared to Finland. Even if Sakari provided salary based on industry rate, the Finnish expert from Sakari has given an industry rate about 5,820 US dollars is very low for them because they need to send their money back to their families and they have to exchange back to US dollars, which is not enough for them. So asking Sakari to reconsider the salary amount will be a great idea. So the final last move, if anything doesn't work out well, is the termination of contract. So if the Sakari team still insists to follow deals provided by Nora, Nora has no choice but searching for a Japanese client or partner. It is best not to proceed with a partner who is not interested and want to dominate the contract to be favorable for them. Thank you.